Hello, everyone. I just wanted to do a super, if I don't knock everything over, take one. Hello, everyone. I just wanted you to take two. Hello, everyone. I just wanted to do a quick video on what I do to consecrate, to smudge, to dedicate my deck. We will be working with the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, water, and we will be making some incense that I use, my own special recipe that I use to smudge my deck with, and we'll be going through all of that. And feel free to use anything of my recipe that you like. Take things out, put in things that you resonate with. This is just my recipe. Tweak it to make it your own. And I really encourage that. So today we're going to get our hands a little bit dirty, which I love. All right, I am going to light my candle. Okay, settle down. Ground yourself while we do this magical working of smudging, clearing, and consecrating our tarot deck. Take a couple deep cleansing breaths. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out and drop your shoulders. Okay. I will set my deck to the side. I'm going to make a pretty big batch, just so I can save it for later. And I do have my cauldron, which we'll be burning things in. And this is my mortar and pestle. I got this down here. And that is what I'm going to be working with, okay? But I want to smudge it really fast. I just cleaned it. But I want to smudge the inside of it. And smudge the area. So everything is now sacred. And the area is now cleansed. All negative energy is gone. Okay, we'll let that smoke a little bit. All right, and I will list some ingredients later on, but right now I am going to be using peppermint. And like I said, this is just for what I use in my incense, my smudging incense. I've got some peppermint bundles in here. And these herbs correspond with earth, air, fire, water, spirit. Also for protection. And then try to mash it up a little bit more for y'all so it's easier to take some time with that. And a bay leaf for sight and wisdom and also protection. This may be a long video. Just sit back and relax as I make a mess. And I'm going to be using some resin. I have the 3 Kings resin. And I will just be using a teaspoon of that. And I will be using myrrh. I can get it in there. The top of this one has a big chunk of myrrh in it, and I really don't want a big chunk. I want the smaller chunks. Some copal resin. Or copal, however you pronounce it. Okay. And let's start rounding that up. Into chunks. The resin is very sticky. The aroma is wonderful. And what I'm doing is, you can see, I am trying to grind this to a fine kind of powder. All right. I put a little bit of cedar in there. Cedar always reminds me, just smell my hands, of my guinea pig cage and rabbit cages. And roses, a little bit of rosebuds. I love the smell of roses. It's very feminine to me. And it invokes the divine for me. Let's just stir that up really fast. If you want to, you can shred them a little bit more. Okay. We have a scoop of lavender. I'm going to put 1.5. Now, I don't measure. I go by what I feel and how I feel. And every ingredient I put in there, I usually try to stir around and infuse my intentions into cleansing it. I always put a little bit of salt in there, just a tad bit, and I'll show you what else we're going to do with the salt. Salt is for purification, like it everywhere. And I usually put in mugwort. Mugwort is wonderful for divination. And it also is a wonderful must-have working witchy type of herb. It's great for divination, sight, seeing, great for meditation. And I will just break that up. And this is what it is starting to look like now. You can see. Smells wonderful. Okay. Patchouli. Just a tad bit of patchouli. Patchouli is super, super strong, so just a little bit is needed. Patchouli represents earth. forgot some Arabic gum. And I'm just going to put a little bit in there. It's got big chunks in there, but try to break that up by hand. And that is Arabic gum. And then we have cinnamon. I'll try to break that up. There we go. Put a little bit more cinnamon in there. There we go. And this made a pretty big batch. And before I forget, I always put sage in there. Here's my signature. I don't like the sticks though. And that is for clearing and protection and getting rid of negative energy. And I'm not putting the burn pieces in there. Okay. Now that we have made quite a bit of a mess, right? But it's great. Love it. Let me start with lighting of the charcoal disc. Put that aside. And the reason why you want to light a charcoal disc is because we're going to burn it. And I usually cut mine in half. Try to at least. And hopefully it will start. Don't burn myself. I have a little tong that I usually light this with, but I don't know where it's at. I have lost it and misplaced it somewhere. So we're going to let that sit a little bit. Okay. Now I have a little dish that I am going to consecrate the space with and call in the quarters. And this is moon water that I have collected. So I will put a little dab of moon water in there. And I will consecrate it with putting a couple pinches of salt. That cleanses it, purifies it. It's kind of like homemade holy water. And I will take my stick that I used, you can see it, from my sage, and I will use it to stir in the salt. And that's nice and concentrated. Okay. I'm going to stir. My incense. And just pound the pieces up a little bit more and just infuse it all. And break up any pieces that you see that need to be incorporated into the mixture. And just really dive into the smell of it. Okay. Now we have our signs, representation of our earth, air, fire, water sign. And so what I do is I pass my deck over the flame, which represents fire sign, and I always consecrate it with the powers of the fire, which is your wand signs, your wand suit, in your tarot deck. So I pass it over the flame and I say something doesn't have to be elaborate. Just I bless this deck with the power of the wands, fire, passion. Then I sit with it for a little bit. And then I take my salt and I sprinkle my deck. I consecrate you and bless you with the powers of water, emotion, forgiveness, and loving nature. Smoke from there. And then I lay a crystal on it. You can use any crystal you like. And this is a representation of your pentacles, your earth sign. I consecrate you and bless you with the powers of earth, groundedness, steadiness, and stability. Okay. In the air, I'm going to represent with the sage and the incense. And it seems to be going really well. So I take a little bit of my incense, sacred incense, and I just dab it on there. And as you can see, it's starting to smoke. And I do my deck, consecrate my deck as a whole for right now. I bless this deck and consecrate it with the power of air, thoughts and wisdom, the suit of swords. Okay. Now the whole deck is consecrated, but you can even go further. Make sure that's not right. And you can smudge every single card individually, which is what I'm going to do. You don't have to. For me, I do this once a month because I do, ooh, that smells so good. Because I read for a lot of people. And it is important that I clear, smudge, consecrate, and rededicate my cards to my practice. You don't have to do one deck at a time, one card, at a time. Like I said, you can do the whole deck at one sweep, or you can fan them out. Whichever way you want to do it. I like to do mine one at a time because it brings me into ritual. And it brings me into space, into a headspace of meditation, a headspace of connecting with my deck, a headspace of getting tuned into nature and spirit. And use your intuition. If you feel that a card needs to sit a little bit longer on the smoke, then keep it there. Really get in touch with your intuition using these cards and how they feel. Look at the pictures. I might want to move this over a little bit more. Don't burn myself. And just sit and relax in the moment. And the ritual of it all. There's no hurry. Ooh. Don't feel rushed. Take your time. And relax in the moment. Okay. Now our deck is cleansed of the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, water. And we have invoked those elements. And usually the final step that I like to do is take a little bit of lavender, just let it smoke on there a little bit. And let it sit and infuse with that. Sometimes have to stir it up. Get a little bit of smoke going. There we go. Okay. Now that our deck is cleansed and consecrated and dedicated, now we're going to say a little blessing over it. And all this does for me is it just rededicates my deck to workings. And I will tell it what it is supposed to do, and I will dedicate it to as being a tool. So all I do, I just love that smell. Sorry, I'm getting intrigued by the smell. So all I do is just say a little blessing, warm my energy up, put it over my deck. Hope y'all can see that. Close my eyes and just say, I bless this deck with the power of earth, air, fire, water. The powers of stability, thought, compassion, fluidity, and passion. I dedicate this deck to the workings of higher good, to work with my clients in my intuition to bring the best message received by spirit to my client. I bless this deck with a connection to earth, air, fire, water, and to me. By the power of 3, so mote it be. And that's all. And then I just set a crystal on it. I let it sit for a little bit. And I let it just rest and recharge, reconsecrate, and to power itself up again. I thank you for sharing space with me. I hope that this is helpful to you and get you started on blessing and rededicating and charging your tarot deck. Loves and hugs. Bye.